Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Escapades. My name is 𝗧𝗘𝗔𝗏 and today I'm joined by Anand to discuss FPL assets for Game Week 33. But before we jump into that, we'll also have to discuss Game Week 32, which in part feels like an international break because it's been extended for so long, and that this has been one of the most erratic and frustrating game weeks or week in general as a football fan for me and for all of us in the international community with the breakout of Super League and also a lot of resignations and firings in due course of that. Anand, welcome back, man. I hope you're having a great game week 32 because it's still not over. It's still 21st, and Spurs are playing Southampton at 1-1 right now. We'll get to that, but definitely, man, how have you been and what did you make of the last 72 hours? And one of the biggest week as a football fan where we saw almost all of the ethos of a decade old tradition about to be plucked out of the Premier League and all the other major leagues to create what would have been the Super League, but thankfully it did not end up. What are your thoughts, man, and how did you deal with the last 72 hours?
Yeah, almost half a century rather than a decade. Also, V for victory, because all the clubs have pulled out, and that is that is the best part that has come out of it. Yes, when we heard about the European Super League, and especially when we heard about 15 teams will be playing the Super League every year, they cannot. They will. So basically, Super League was the replacement for Champions League. So 15 teams would get to play the new Champions League every year. So that was a bit disappointing, especially for a lot of clubs all across Europe who dream of playing the best teams in the world in the Champions League, because most of the best teams in the world are in Europe. You know, we would have there was a time when a team like Porto won the Champions League. And talking about Porto, it was Jose Mourinho who was the manager then. And another disappointing way because Mourinho was sacked just before the Carabao Cup final that is going to be held this Sunday. So yeah, you were spot on with the word. It was pretty erratic. It was disappointing as well initially because a lot of people felt like this was coming and it's inevitable. And Perez and all his partners in crime, they have pulled off something which is going to last, which is going to be the new face of football. But yes, credit to all the fans, credit to all the spokesperson, all the stakeholders, ministers, who especially demanded the English clubs to pull out. And even UEFA came in, the FIFA came in, and I think in the end, football won. That's most important. I've never seen the entire football community being so united. And Bamford also rightly came on and said that I think we need better things to be united. For instance, racism and all these things. We need to be united on those stuff as well. And not just racism. I think it's just one of the small topics. There are several topics out there. There are various topics out there to be united for. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, sun will shine tomorrow, and that's the best thing here because football clubs will be dreaming of playing in the Champions League once again. All the clubs, all across Europe. Also, the best part is the winner of the Champions League actually goes and plays the FIFA Club World Cup. So dreams of all the other clubs across the world, even they have the dream. One day they will play a big club from Europe in the Club World Cups. So that dream will be intact as well. So yeah, it's just brilliant news. And coming back to my game week, it's been really disappointing. I had what do I say? I went against the wind. I didn't have a Spurs player in my team um, because of a couple of reasons which I shared in the last podcast. One of them was partially correct. Harry Kane is not playing in the second match, but he had already done the damage by then. He's already scored a massive 12 point again, once again. What a season he's having. But yes, but then I think I'm not totally disappointed with my team because I brought in Alexander Arnold, and that was a good transfer in. I got him in, and he gave bonus points as well, and he gave an assist. So yeah, that was good to see. Despite him losing the clean sheet, he was amongst the points. And then Luke Shaw, it's been disappointing in terms of FPL returns. But honestly speaking, I got in Luke Shaw a few weeks back, precisely 3 weeks back, and he has not returned since then. But the best part about United, I feel here, is whenever they attack, it's through the left channel. And although Rashford again didn't return, Rashford did return actually this game week. He's one of my highest scoring midfielders this week, but he probably deserved a little bit more. I think he looked so lethal in that match, the flicks and everything. Well, the man of the match was Greenwood for being so spectacular once again. Scored a couple of goals, but it was the hard work and the magic that Rashford was bringing on that left flank. But yes, I think it's quite obvious that Greenwood is somebody who's more clinical. He needs little chances and he's gonna score them. So that's one plus point over about Greenwood. If I didn't have Rashford or Greenwood in my team, I would probably go for Greenwood. But yes, Rashford just looked so amazing. Yes, he has niggling injury problems, and that's something frustrating because even with those injury problems, he's looking so good this year. Jota, Salah, you couldn't say anything. They did get their chances. Bamford hit the post. So I'm totally not really disappointed because, these players, they did get their chances. It could have been something else. Yeah, just 10 seconds of a different sort of a moment in the match could have been very, very different. But as of now, it's on 33 with Watkins, Iheanacho, and Martinez left to play. And so yeah, that's mostly about it. But you have been having a cracking game week, Kshitij. Captain scoring once again. Good use of the wild card so far going for you.
Yeah, man. And before I jump into my team, I also would like to drop my 2 cents on what have been a really hectic or mind-boggling 72 hours as a football fan. Even though we are in India and we do not really spend money per se on tickets and have that connection with the club that we don't do not go to Old Trafford week in and week out. But I just as a football fan, I think after hearing to the likes of Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher and hundreds of football pundits on Sky and BT Sports and everybody, even Adam McCullough on the Stretford paddock as well. This definitely gives me immense pleasure that I think for the first time ever, the fans have won against the big money owners and the greedy owners, as Gary Neville loves to say now over the past couple of days. But yeah, definitely, I think this might not be the end. This is just, like you said, it was a victory for football, but rather I think it was the victory of the lesser evil of the two. I've been following a lot of people on Twitter and the conversation around UEFA FIFA versus the Super League. And trust me, I mean UEFA and FIFA, and I'm sure you would agree as well, Anand, are not really great organizations per se. They're one of the most corrupt organizations in the world, but definitely the lesser of the two evils won in my eyes. And the pyramid of football is still intact. The meritocracy of the clubs and each and every individual footballer who comes through the ranks has also been preserved, because I for one do not really like the concept of sports in America wherein you have 16 teams in the NFL and 20 24 odd teams in the NBA, and they just do not get relegated. They have no concept of relegation. The worst, and even the people the teams and the clubs who finish last get the first pick in the draft. So losing does not really make does not hurt people, wherein we see how lives change of the players, of the managers, and more so the employees that work in these clubs like Norwich, who've just qualified for the Premier League all over again, and they'll be awarded with a huge sum of money. It is of course about money. It is of course about greed. And like I said, according to me, UEFA and FIFA are no less of the bad people here. But it still makes me happy that the international fan base of all the clubs could rally behind together behind supporting this agenda and finally getting the Super League cancelled and pressuring the clubs to actually pull out of it. And kudos to the Chelsea fans. Guys were the first with Peter Cech. I saw this video uh, swirling around Twitter, and I think that Chelsea fans not letting the bus in and actually showing how distraught they were on the idea was actually, I think, what made Roman Abramovich have cold feet and pull out. But definitely great things happening from Chelsea and Manchester City, the east side of Manchester, definitely standing up. But yeah, I mean, like, I had never seen such any thing like this before in my life of 5-7 years of following football so closely and playing FPL. But yeah, definitely a great win for the fans, at least for now. But yeah, we still have to keep an eye out on the greater good, and definitely, like correctly you mentioned, the Bamford and all the other Tyron Mings, for example. I have recently seen a tweet circulate that he also faced racial abuse. So we have bigger things to rally around, and I hope the international community does rally behind social issues that really matter. But yeah, with that, I think enough of serious talk about all of the crazy 72 hours. And you are absolutely right, Anand. Thankfully, one of my chips did pay off. Wildcard was going pretty nicely. Unfortunately, Kane is not playing Southampton as we speak right now, but luckily for me, Lucas Moura has assisted Gareth Bale, so that pushes up my total from 55 to 60 plus, I believe. And I still have Iheanacho and Martinez to play. Hopefully, Iheanacho, with Winter's blessing, can do something for me this game week as well. And hopefully, Martinez does give me save points because I'm not really sure that they'll be able to keep a clean sheet. But yeah, all in all, a fairly good week, fairly great chip. Semedo thankfully did keep a clean sheet. I was hoping to go for Cody, who got one bonus point, but I think I rather not be greedy and be thankful that Semedo did pay off well and does definitely put more confidence in me to actually not transfer out any other player. I will be benching all of the three assets from Spurs for my upcoming game week, and this is basically my bus team. I know this for me feels really uneasy to go with five defenders, but I think this is a chance that I have to take to roll over two free transfers because I'd really like to see the next game week without any City and Spurs assets, without the headache of the Pep Rule, because we'll be able to see what kind of teams these both managers feel after Jose Mourinho's departure. I'm really looking forward to how Spurs play. And of course, I had KDB, Gundogan, and Diaz. Gundogan and Diaz are playing in a couple of minutes or so. So let's hope they do fire. And definitely, my eyes will be on the FA Cup before the game week 34, and let's see how these guys play and what teams are fielded, and then I'd like to make my decision. So I this is my 15. These are my 15 players that I have. I'm pretty happy. I have 11 players without needing to transfer. That is my strategy going forward. I still have my triple captain. Thank God I did not play it on Kane, even though 12 points is not that bad from a triple captain, I'd assume. But there are definitely, I've heard that we might have double game weeks for Aston Villa or other clubs in come game week 33 or 35 and so on, and maybe you'd know better more on that. So those are my plans, Anand. What do you think about this, the entire strategy of rolling a transfer, given that the likes of Spurs, who might feel like being rejuvenated after Mourinho's departure, even though I know a lot of players might not be really happy that Mourinho was sacked, because I've heard that Kane was one of the first people to react on social media about Mourinho's departure. So do you think it makes sense to roll on a transfer, or do you think it is better to get rid of a Spurs asset right now and maybe take a -4 in the coming week, depending upon how teams line up?
So I think Kshitij, you're really well set up for game week 34 because Spurs will play Sheffield United and Sheffield are struggling at the moment. But yes, Again, you rightly mentioned about checking out how Spurs is actually playing. Now, probably Spurs will field a very strong squad against City, and because of that, it may lead to some rotation against Sheffield. So, for example, if Harry Kane comes back again against City in the Carabao Cup final, probably Harry Kane might again, be on the bench because he's just recovered from an injury. So that's something that you may have to monitor. But yes, you definitely have to wait. But yes, Harry Kane, in the form he is, it's better to have him on the bench, and because Spurs fixtures are definitely looking good, and with Harry Kane, we definitely know that the style of the game doesn't matter really. He just needs some chances, and he's so clinical that he'll bury them. So I think you were good as a good team. Lucas Moura is somebody, of course, he gets hot and cold. Um, so that's the player you may be thinking about moving out or whatever. But yes, you definitely should wait. But yes, there are plenty of good players out there in the market at the moment. You can probably target the likes of you can even so Trossard is playing Sheffield United in Gameweek 33, so he looks like a decent pick. And there is Greenwood and Rashford, so you don't have you just have two United players, so you can probably have one more. But yes, because of Europa Cup rotation will hit even United at some point of time. But yes, there are options. Salah will be playing Newcastle in Game 33. So there are some options out there in midfield. Um, but yeah, overall, I really like the picks. Castagna looks like a good pick to have. He's playing. He has really good fixtures. Leicester has really good fixtures at the moment. Semedo, yes, again, like a good pick. He played well too, by the way, and he has a couple of good matches. The only worry I see here is, you'll be playing Shaw and Dallas, both of them together. So you're expecting clean sheet returns from both of them, or attacking returns from both of them. So that'll be something that you have to monitor. But yeah, I think Dallas deserves to be in anybody's team. He's this season's best,
He's
defender
kind
in
of
terms of FPL
he's
points.
kind of this season's Lord Lundstrom actually, really
Oh
playing in the
yeah,
mid and
absolutely.
returning as a defender. So yeah, you are absolutely right, Anand. That is my strategy rather going into Game Week 33. That rather than defensive returns, I'm expecting attacking offensive returns from Shaw and Dallas both. And yeah, definitely correctly mentioned that I do have this feeling in me, or rather, the urge to transfer Lucas Moura out for the likes of Madison, who I actually wanted to keep in this week as well. And I hope he really does not score this week and takes a couple of weeks to get back into the rhythm. But yeah, definitely, I think I do actually like the setup of my team. I'm really concerned of going with five at the back because clean sheets you do not really want to rely on them. And but in that case also all of my defense have the potential of giving offensive returns. So that is where my headspace is right now. But yeah, it'll be really tricky that I'll have only 11 players, and even if one is benched or does not feature, which I feel is not likely to happen, but in football you never know. I will end up playing with 10 players. So that is somewhere in my mind. But yeah, absolutely, I feel I agree with the point. I think I like my setup, and according to me, I think rolling a free transfer is the best way to go. Uh, Again, I can still agree with your points last week and this week as well. Semedo did play really well, but that might not be the greatest pick from the Wolves backline. But yeah, as you know, I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks that I'm planning to attack fixtures, and I think the likes of Leicester and Wolves, and even Liverpool for that matter, and Spurs do have good fixtures, and I really do not know what kind of players or assets I might end up shipping out. But yeah, that is that for Game Week 33, and I hope that all the 11 players that I feel do intend playing. With that, I mean, Anand, uh, good observations as well. Tell me about your team, man. What are your plans going into Game Week 33?
Mhm. Well, uh, my mid will stay the same. I have Jota, Rashford. Salah, Bruno in my team at the moment. Defensively, I have Shaw, Alexander, and I have Alonso. And Martinez will stay. Watkins, Bamford, and Iheanacho. So this is the team at the moment. I feel I'm gonna start, but
But a
yes,
pretty
I'm worried about Alonso.
looks like the kind of team that you almost had this week as well, right? Do you plan on
Yeah,
changing
yeah.
your bench or something? What kind of what mentality are you taking into Game Week 33 or 34?
Yeah, so I have Rafinha, Dallas on my bench, and I also have Aina on my bench. So Aina is blanking in Game Week 33. So at the moment, I am tempted a little bit to remove Aina and get in somebody, maybe a Leicester cover, somebody like a Fofana, because at the moment I don't know why, but he looks like the fittest defender in the team. So Soyuncu is another good option, but he's just coming back from injury and COVID. So is he absolutely match fit? Brendan Rodgers has already talked about Ricardo Pereira. He says Pereira. He doesn't expect Pereira to be match fit in all the games this season. And regarding Castagna, I think Castagna, although I really like this player, been following him from Atlanta last season. But yeah, he's been overused. He's been playing every match. And now Leicester will also be playing the FA Cup. But yes, as of now, in the short run in, Castagna looks like a good pick. But with Fofana, the bit about Fofana I like is he can play centre back, or if required, he can even push up in the midfield. Rogers has played him over there too. So this is something I like about Fofana at the moment. But yes, he's definitely not the most attacking option, and that is why I'm not 100% sure at the moment. But yes, I'm worried because I don't want to have Dallas coming up from my bench in case Alonso doesn't start. Although Dallas is like a really good substitute, but honestly speaking, I just feel like if United goes bonkers this game week, it can be it can be a lot of negative points. So that's something like last time remember the score line, it was 6-2, although Dallas did score a wonder goal in that match. But yeah, Alonso, I'm a little worried about him because I definitely don't know if he's going to start or not. Um, because Chelsea is also in the semi-finals of the Champions League. So yeah, that's a worry over there. I'm not 100% convinced whether Alonso will play or not. Also, in the last match, Alonso looked so defensive. I think the reason why Chilwell played so many matches because now Tuchel has got him in his head that he is a defender also. So that is why we didn't see a lot of runs from Alonso in the last match, as we have been seeing from Alonso in the previous matches, like against West Brom, he gave an assist, but after that match, he didn't play a single minute, and then he came back in the last match. So yeah, but I don't know if Alonso will play or not. But yeah, definitely I'm not going to remove Alonso because Aina is blanking. So it's better to remove Alonso, better to remove Aina at the moment. So that's what I am at the moment. But yeah, really honestly speaking, I can't find a good defender at the moment because I'm looking at Chelsea, I'm looking at City, but both of them are in Champions League, and I really can't get them in. I want Robertson. I think Robertson is the best pick in my eyes to fill that slot. Either you know in the game week forward, maybe Alonso goes out or Aina goes out, whosoever goes out. I think Robertson is the best choice, but I can't have him in because I already have Salah and Jota. But yes, let's see where it goes. Like you, I'll be waiting for the Carabao Cup final, and at the same time, I'll also be waiting for the press conferences. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Regarding midfield, at the moment I'm happy with my midfield. Rafinha on the bench, um, you know, might not be out for long like Grealish was or is still out. I feel happy with Rafinha. He's a really good budget option over there. With the forwards, I'm happy with the forwards too at the moment. Yes, um, I may need to get in Harry Kane soon. Otherwise, he's just going to kill me. Uh, maybe may not I may not captain him, but at least I should have him. I feel it's never too late. But yeah, let's see how things are at the moment. not 100% convinced whether I really need to remove Aina, because you know
I
there's
mean,
Dallas always
you
coming in.
you still set up pretty well for Game Week 33, even if you do not take Aina out. So I mean, the my question after looking at your team would be: you have a triple up on Liverpool and United, and of course, we've spoken about eye tests and attacking the fixtures as well. But with United, at least, all of the fixtures are not really, easy. The upcoming fixtures, they have a good fixture and then they have a sort of a tough fixture. And Liverpool also do face United, and after that have a decent run of fixtures towards the end of the season as well. So do you plan on keeping this triple up throughout till the end of the season, because you feel that United for one would love to are challenging for the title, and it might be a little too late, but definitely they would not like to drop points. So and so with Liverpool, they're chasing the Champions League spot. So does that play a factor in the decision of tripling up on both these clubs till the end of the season, or do you feel like you might want to take out some assets from these clubs and get the likes of Son and maybe make money for the likes of Kane?
Yeah, regarding Liverpool, I am a little bit concerned regarding Jota at the moment. Honestly, uh, I was not 100% convinced when I was getting him in, but he's in top form. And I just got him in because of form. So I'm not 100% convinced, although he's in top form this season. Regarding Rashford, a couple of game weeks back, I thought that maybe Rashford is going out, but I kept him in for Brighton. He scored in the Brighton match, then he blanked in the last match against Tottenham. He didn't have a great match, but he did have some chances. Then against, in the last match, he gave an assist and he was delightful throughout the match till the time he played the match. And he did have some good goal scoring opportunities too. Now, these are the two players that I am thinking of moving away with. But honestly, the kind of midfielders out there, Son is closest, you're right, but he will definitely not help me in bringing Harry Kane. Um, so because he's 9.5 and Rashford is 9.52, so they are equivalent. So yeah, but at the moment it's just sort of like I've been giving some players like the last dance sort of a thing, and it's again like the last dance for Rashford, unfortunately. But yeah, let's see how he does against these. If he looks fresh, if Oli again manages him in the Europa. Although this time I feel he's gonna play in the Europa semi-final as well, big match. And like we discussed earlier as well, United when they attack, it usually comes from the left hand side. Um, so yes, because United's creating so much on the left, with Shaw and Rashford running that flank. And yes, at the moment, the right side is eating all the fruits of the hard work from the left hand side. But yes, when you know that the creator spark is there, then eventually they will return points. That is how it happens. Because sometimes your right may be blocked because of good defense, but because even having good defense is not working properly because your left side is really creative at the moment. But yeah, let's see how it is. Um, Cavani looks really good, but yeah, again, so much of rotation. You have really good point, but towards the end of the season, I would love to have even like you. I would also love to bring in Madison, but I'm keenly waiting on Grealish. I'm definitely waiting on Grealish. I don't know which player will go out. Maybe let's see. Maybe I'll retain Jota again because Liverpool not playing any of the competition. That's the best thing, and they are going to create chances. This is what I feel. Sometimes what happens is in football, your players will create chances, but they might not score, and it may happen for 2 matches or 3 matches or 4 matches. But what I really like when I watch a football match is players creating chances, and I feel they have enough in that team. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
I think.
like after
Mhm.
after this little monologue of you trying to justify your FPL asset picks, I just like to inform you that Ryan Mason has won his first match as a Spurs manager with not nobody else but Son scoring the final goal. He scored a
Oh
90th
my
minute.
God.
He's just scored a 90th minute penalty, and
And who gave an assist? Regular.
Regulo has given the assist. So I mean, like when you were talking about
A great week for you.
yeah, indeed, but yeah, definitely couldn't have come at a more ominous time than you talking about how Son can was in your plans to get in the upcoming weeks, and definitely these
Yeah.
kind of things might sway your opinion, and definitely do when you feel that people stepping up at the last minute. Definitely was a penalty, and thanks to Regular, he did get scored the goal, but yeah, definitely he did have to convert the penalty as well. So I mean, a great, I think, thought process behind, and justification about tripling up on Liverpool and United with some little thoughts, I think, now creeping up on getting Spurs asset before they'll actually leave you way too behind. But I mean, I really do feel that you can leave Aina on your bench for now and have two free transfers. So maybe when Spurs and City play next, you can shuffle up or jumble your team, like you're saying. Rafinha does look really great as a pick, or rather, did look a great pick, but hopefully he isn't out for too long, like you said. But definitely, I think we both or at least our teams look pretty set for game week 33, and I don't think we would have many complaints. Definitely some tinkering to do moving forward with what to do with United assets, or maybe Leicester once we see them play, or Chelsea as well are drawing nil-nil with Brighton, who are on the verge of getting safe from relegation. So these are the kind of things that I think tinkering does go on till the last minute, after even after the press conferences. You're hopeful for team leaks, like we got really used to last season as well. But yeah, before we end this, Anand, this great discussion about game week 33, the most important question, the captain picks, and I see that finally, while we are recording, you stuck with Bruno and not Salah. And for me to find out that you've finally switched to Bruno again. So I think Bruno against Leeds is a great option. And I mean, I'm sure you have your own reasons, and some of them might be the obvious ones. But any particular reason? Because Leeds again away at Elland Road is not necessarily an easy fixture. But do you feel confident that Bruno might return?
Yeah, yeah. Like I just said, the most creative player in the team will return eventually, and I can't just stamp it down saying no, no, he will return. It's
Of
not
course,
it's
I mean
not
nobody.
that.
You can't do that for any
Yeah,
FPL asset. I mean, you need.
absolutely. But
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. But this is what I feel. I think he's the most creative player in the league, and
That I think that
we
is
play.
enough a reason for you to stick with him, in my opinion, isn't it?
Yeah, because for example, his stats speak for it too. And by creative, I mean I've been checking his goal creation action stats, his key passes, and he's topping all those charts. And even in the last match, he could have taken a shot, or he in fact took a shot. It didn't go. It was on target, but Tarkovsky blocked it. And his magical leave for Greenwood to score that
Oh
goal.
man.
So he even without touching, he is giving an assist. So that's the man, Bruno Fernandes. Regarding your pick, very interesting shout and a brilliant one too, because he's in top form. What do you have to say about your pick, Kshitij?
I mean, when the reason that I picked Diego Jota, I think takes us back to, I think, our game week 30 or 31 episode where we had Akshay, and he said he's only going to captain Harry Kane because he's playing against Newcastle. So that is my reason for sticking with Jota right now. I know Newcastle do have the likes of Callum Wilson back, and do have now a greater offensive threat, I'd rather say, than they had in the previous game weeks that when we spoke about it last. But I think I completely agree with your point that Jota is in really good form right now, and I think uh, like we speak here about the eye test or your gut feel. So I think even for Fernandes as for Jota, I think both of them are, you know, kind of pivotal players. I know Salah is there in Liverpool, who and Mane after ending his goal drought. Now, people might argue that those guys might be better pick because, but if you do not really have anyone else in your team and City and Spurs are not playing, and if you want to go kind of differential, I think Diego Jota definitely seals the deal for me. And the kind of football I think Liverpool have started playing again, I think I agree with the Twitter community as well that the tide is with Liverpool and they are expected to uh, show returns as well. I do not really have Salah in my team. I hope that I'd rather have him, but as the funds would have it, I do not really have enough funds for them, and my uh, second best option from the Liverpool team right now, I feel, is Diego Jota because he at least is starting, and I think, but he might be at risk of being benched as well, given that Salah was did not start the last game and neither did Firmino. So it'll be. Oh, sorry. Did Firmino start? I think he did start, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Firmino did start. So I think the next game might be between Firmino or Jota because I think Mane and Salah it is time because Salah would want to run behind that golden boot yet again. So that'll be very interesting to see how Liverpool line up. But yeah, a gut feel like you've always taught me since the beginning that I started playing FPL to trust your gut. So my gut says Diego Jota. I do really want to go with a United asset, but I think I'll stick with Jota for now. But yeah, it's been a pretty interesting discussion for Game Week 33, and I think we do have a couple of minutes before we wrap up this episode. And before we end, I know we've been talking, we did speak about the Super League, but as a football fan, and I'm sure as a Mourinho fan in general, uh, do you feel that Spurs did the? I mean, according to me, Spurs did do the wrong thing by sacking Mourinho just before final. I mean, it still is Carabao Cup, but for Spurs, with their trophy cabinet eventually actually non-existent because they do not really have one. Do you think it was the right move? Because I think that Daniel Levy would have thought that United bounced back really well after Mourinho was fired, and maybe he's thinking about the same. But do you feel that it was unjustified for the sacking, or do you feel that it was coming, given that Mourinho would have been hired in Spurs for trophies or at least a Champions League spot?
Well, it's really interesting, though when they sacked Mourinho, I don't know why, but there are loads of conspiracies, and one that I heard was Daniel Levy. He was in close contact with Ed Woodward, and what if, uh, you know, all the other big presidents and CEOs were filling Daniel Levy's ears because he was in constant touch with them about something against Mourinho as well. But yes, the performances didn't speak a lot about Mourinho. It was coming at the end of the season, but yeah, I mean, maybe they could have given him one more match. Maybe they didn't want Mourinho to brag that I'm sacked after winning them a title. It could be anything. But yes, it was coming eventually. Mourinho has to understand that it was not against him totally; it was against his tactics rather. And you know, if you are in Mourinho's shoes, you will definitely have a lot of answers as well at the same time.
I'm
But
sure.
yeah, I mean, the intent. Yeah, I mean, he will definitely have answers. For example, he might say that I don't have the right players, but we have seen the philosophy is a bit different. Since the last few years, he has been playing a pragmatic style of football, so it was almost coming. But I think the biggest news we missed it. I don't know how,
I was
but
just
yeah, the
about to
biggest
come to
news is.
that. I was just about to come to that after this. Yeah, but go ahead, man.
Oh, you should go ahead.
No,
I'll start with Ed. I'll start with Ed, and then you can continue. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ed Woodward, I think, uh, great businessman. I would not absolutely deny that one bit, but I think,
I would
really,
deny it actually.
no, I mean,
Isn't it
he
easy
was
to
good.
make?
He was a good businessman. I mean, he did get funds for United and all that, but
But don't
definitely
you
an
think?
awful football
But don't you
person.
think getting funds for United is not that tough?
I mean, like, you might see, given the stature of the club that United or even like City and Liverpool,
Even I'll tell you a thing. Okay, even before Woodward came, we were getting the best deals. Okay, we were getting the best deals even before Woodward came. I mean, but there was a difference. Before Woodward, we never spoke about these things. As
Yeah.
fans or United media never spoke about things like, "Whoa, United is Gill or whosoever in charge is doing such a brilliant job on the financial end." All we spoke about was winning matches, winning trophies. But after Woodward came, I don't know, there was this initiative or a narrative in the media where uh, you know, we had so many press conferences or reports coming out where people are talking about Woodward that, oh, he's done so much, he's brought so much money and everything. And people to this date, even after he's gone, people are still talking about it, that he did such a good job. But you need to understand, I personally feel he was smart enough. So if he brought in money, he made sure that his PRs, spread the word like fire.
Yeah,
That
absolutely,
he's the one
absolutely,
getting money.
and I'm sure like us as United fans would love have an endless debate or a discussion on such a topic, and yeah, I think we might as well, because since we are trying to expand the content that we are providing, we might go on Instagram or even on Twitter. I think Twitter has released Twitter Spaces. So that is something that we really need to try out, and hopefully the team at FPL Escapades might join back us again with all of those guys in Suryansh, Akshat, as well as in Amit, who do the player review as well. I think this is a really sensitive topic and not really related to FPL, so I think we should hold on to our emotions, because we might go on for on, and I do think that we really need to do that sometime. Uh, like for all of our listeners and supporters, if you do want to chime in, or if you do want to see such content where we do talk about general football in general and not just FPL escapade, or sorry, or not just FPL, do let us know. All of our social media links are down in the description. Anand, I think it's been a great chat, man. It's been an interesting couple of days, as well as football fans and United fans in general. Ed Woodward on his way out, something to discuss. Glazers might be next. Apparently not so, given the Glazers have just released an apology to the fans. It does not really mean crap, if you would ask me, but definitely something else to talk about in the upcoming future. Uh, as always, thank you so much for tuning in, all of our supporters and listeners. We hope you had a great time listening to us chat about all the recent events as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. Uh, Please do give us a thumbs up on this video and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us as upcoming YouTube content creators. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good one. And as always, may the arrows be green. Peace.